are much faster in the corners and much faster down the straight with the power that those cars have. And as I mentioned before, they will at some point probably start lapping some of the GT4 cars, and how you pick your way around is very very conducive to a good result around this place. So we'll see how the different classes work here. We got almost an even split between the two classes of cars, GT3s and GT4s. So a good complement in both sets of cars and a good assortment of cars within those classes as well. So you can see the Lamborghini on the screen here trying to make his qualifying laps. You've got a Porsche GT3R as well. That's Ed Nelson coming down the back straight. And another Lambo from Tyler Guillemette. BMWs, we got them all here. So it's an interesting selection of cars that all the drivers have.
Not the track. The 013. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh okay. Someone's happy. I don't think I've seen that before. That's like a clown car. He shot across the corner there. Bells
Yes,
would think that iRacing decided to have a moment, of course, and I quite enjoyed the falling off wheels and the flappy hood. Those were excellent.
That's what can happen here when you get onto the grass. It'll suck the car right off, and because the speeds are so high here, it's very hard to get the car stopped before you hit something like a wall. So obviously Gabriel had a bit of a moment there. He's sort of mid-pack in the qualifying so far, but he will bring that heaping wreck back to the pits and get a new car and hopefully make it to the grid on time.
I'm wondering if he thinks making the car lighter will make it faster, but I'm pretty sure that's not the way you do that, although the flapping hood might maybe act as an air brake or some sort of downforce device, who knows. Either way, last moments here of qualifying are about to elapse, so we think everyone's got their laps in that we expect, but that could change, of course, in the last seconds. But we are looking forward to a good race. We'll hopefully have your running order for you in just a second, and we'll run down that as soon as the clock officially ticks over to race time. We'll have a relatively short pace lap around here, I believe. We start a little bit back from the front, so we'll hit that now as qualifying has ended. Matt Smotherman for the Pro beneficiaries is out front, with pros Jesse Elliott and Ed Nelson behind him in second and third. Tyler Guillemette for the Pro beneficiaries in fourth, with Chris Walsh, Gabriel Albano, Martin Wallace and Joe Stiffel for the pros. Hunter Reeve and Scott Andrews are for Pro beneficiary. Behind them, we have Greg Meismer for the beneficiaries, Kyle Smith and Rick Haslett for the open class, Matt Ayotte with Brian Knight for the beneficiaries, Brian Winker for open, followed by Philip Chartier and Elliot Whitfield. So we'll start here on the back straight near the old pit lane for our run down here to get this thing going tonight. 30 minutes of racing on the clock. Of course, there will be a pit stop expected. The track is cold tonight. We're looking at 67 degrees Fahrenheit with 77 degrees on the track itself. Winds calm-ish, 2 miles an hour from the north. For humidity's 50%. That will play a factor, I think, Rodney.
Yeah, a little bit, but the cool track for sure is going to help these drivers with a little bit of extra grip and as they go around. And we're later in the evening, I believe, or no, we're first thing in the morning. So the track could get a little bit warmer here. We got clear skies, and as the sun gets on the track, we could see it warm up a bit.
Yeah, we certainly could, and we look forward to seeing what will happen there. But obviously, we have to get this thing going and get the race on. It's the final round. Will we see an upset change here? That would be, I think, the highlight. As much as people are fast, we want them to do well. We always love an underdog story.
Absolutely, and this is the last race of the season, so there's no holding back here for some of the racers that are a little further back in the field or in the standings. Might as well let it all hang out here on the track, so we'll see what happens tonight.
Absolutely will. Wait for the last couple of drivers here to join our field before we get going. And the pace car will pull away to do just that. Let's get this field underway for the final round here. A little bit of tire warming happening up front. We're taking this one seriously tonight. I think quite a few of those guys behind Matt Smotherman really want a piece of this, as our GT4 field start moving as well behind them, giving a good gap here to the pros. Maybe people know something we don't about this colder track.
Yes, it'll be as with most tracks. The first corner is going to be critical here. At the end of the first straight here, there's a tight horseshoe corner that people have to behave themselves and give each other room in, or else it could be a little bit of a disaster. So hopefully tonight, and we've seen through most of this series that the drivers have been very good at the starts, and there hasn't been too many issues.
Look forward to seeing what that will be, of course. It's going to be a great race for us, and hopefully a fantastic run for these drivers. Always love to see something exciting change. Green flag waves, and away go the GT3 cars. The final round of Operation Motorsport Season 6 is on, and it's a big jump already for Matt Smotherman at the front of the field with Elliott, Nelson, Glamet, Walsh behind him. Too wide into that first corner for the 5 and the 25. That is Elliott and Glamet. Elliott slipped back quite significantly, in fact. Second place currently held by Ed Nelson up there. Your GT4s behind them, they're going as well here. They're coming through the second and third corner as we have a big jump by Meismer as well here. As Kyle Smith gets himself back into that second spot, as we have, unfortunately, I think Hunter Reeve is off the track on the dirt, just outside NASCAR turn. I think he went wide. Yep, that is Formula Drift. Hunter, this is GT racing.
And he's been struggling tonight in that Ford. We've talked about these Fords being before. They're a bit of a brute of a car.
Quickly back to the front. We want to get a quick replay of this, but we had a big moment here for some of these guys towards the sharp end as we had an incident between Ed Nelson and the 104 of Albano. But it actually wasn't. Nelson lost it himself. Slid off the track at very high speed in front of Albano. Like a rocket. I've never seen someone go off there before.
Yeah, looks like he's coming up to South Bend here.
Problem is, he could have lost the entire track and landed on the far side.
Oh. We've seen this before at VIR. You just can't get yourself stopped and you come right across, and sometimes you come right across right into the front of traffic. Fortunately, that wasn't the case here. Looks like it got a little light coming up over the hump here. There's so much change in elevation here that can lighten up the cars as they come over those humps, and your rear end can get a little loose on you, and maybe that's what happened on cold tires here first lap. It unfortunately had to slide right across the course, and we talked about that before. Once you get on the grass, it's very hard to get stopped because of the speed you're carrying.
It is indeed. We've got some racing towards the back here of our front group. This is around Albano, and I believe that's going to be the Lamborghini, the 666 machine of Wallace. Those two side by side here coming down out of the fellow corners. A little bit of separation now as we come across the line here. Looking back from Wallace in sixth place there. As a little bit further forward, it's getting very congested into the first corner. Turns out I'm on replay. My brain's doing great tonight. It's always a good start when you're looking for things on track, and I'm like, oh, a great battle that happened a minute ago.
I was kind of wondering what was happening there, because you were talking about the front straight. I'm looking at the cars and I said, well, they're on the back straight.
Yeah, I'm quite special at times. Moving on. We have, though, some racing down here in our GT4 field, as we have Ayotte and Haslett here running in BMWs. Trying to find some room here to get themselves closer. Old Oak Tree Bend just does not look the same anymore. I don't know what they filled that hole with, but it does like to chunk people's performance around there. As up we come now onto the straight. Well, no one's close enough ready for a draft pass at this point, and I think that is our big passing opportunity here, Rodney. Drafting is so vital to this circuit.
Yes, especially here on the back straight. If you can get a good run off the oak tree, you've got a big long straight here. You got opportunity to draft up to a car and get by them, or at least get positioned into the next corner up here at the top. As you go into the roller coaster, and this roller coaster is some pretty exciting driving as well, as you're at the top of the hill coming down through some corners. It's the car gets very light, and but it's a good place to pass. We see Matt Ayotte letting Hunter Reeve by in his Ford. Oh, and there goes Hunter under the grass.
Yeah, Hunter goes wide, unfortunately. There, that Ford GT has struggled all season. It's been a brave choice to stick with the car, but I have seen him really struggle compared to what performance we've seen from him in prior seasons. So the Ford, perhaps not his favourite car at this point. It's really been unforgiving.
No, hats off for him for sticking to it, though. He is bound and determined to finish out the season in that car, so good for him. But it is a bit of a handful, it seems, on especially a lot of these fast, flowy tracks where it's easy to get that thing turned around.
Absolutely agree. Matt's gap right now, 2 seconds over Tyler Guillemette in second place. Chris Walsh is 1.2 behind him, with Elliott another second adrift behind them. So a big split in our GT4 3 field. Meismer himself has nearly 5 seconds on Rick Haslett, the Open class leader.
Yeah, he's
Rick,
checked
course,
out right. He's checked out right now, but the two behind here are fighting tooth and nail here, as we can see. Matt Oyot is trying to press his luck with Rick Haslett.
Technically different classes here, and we could see a move, in fact, by...
Yeah, we're seeing one now on the inside.
Yeah, it's Matt Oyot there.
Not necessarily the line you want coming into this corner, but he had enough to get it done.
He did indeed. And behind him there, that is the 93 machine. That'll be Kyle Smith, who is looking for position here on Rick Haslett, so this will be a battle for position between those two. We'll have to see if he can do anything about it, because technically Greg and Rick not in the same race, even though they're in the same car class. They're battling for different things, and big speed boost there. I think Matt has definitely got some speed behind that car. He's definitely looking strong, and here comes Kyle Smith for the move. Across the line, and he should have it into the first corner. Nicely executed there. As finally the two BMWs are split by the Aston Martin.
Yes, nice clean pass there. He got it done. And it looks like he'll be able to hold it here for the next twisty bit of track. So very good pass.
It is indeed, and going
That's
forward
where
there,
the looks like the closest racing on the track here is between this Matt Oyot, Kyle Smith, and Rick Haslett.
would agree to be. That is exactly what we're looking for here. Rick will have to try and catch him up, though. That's going to be the important part for him. He's not quite close enough yet, so we'll have to see what he can do with that. As looking further forwards, Gabriel Albano and Martin Wallace are going to be locked in potential here. Looking on board there with Chris Walsh, he's looking towards Tyler Guillemette just ahead of him. He is in attack range, and Elliott's just behind him. This could be a closing battle for us.
Yeah, Matt's kind of checked out on us in both classes here. It's both the leaders have sort of checked out on the field, but right behind them there's sort of a 3 or 4 car train that is fighting for position here. So we'll see if Chris can catch up to that Lambo and make the pass. He has to worry about Jesse Elliott right on his tail though right now.
He does indeed. He'll keep an eye on that one. See if he can do anything about it, but that car's looking very hungry. Elliott's looking to be in a really strong position, and I think if they don't battle too hard, they'll get Tyler. But I think if they try and strike too weak a balance on this one, they will leave him behind, and Tyler will be able to run off after Matt. Matt has 2.8 seconds now. That lead has grown again. So we'll see if the track marshals have got any anti-tank missiles lying around.
Interesting to see with that pace, if he continues on those paces, both leaders in both classes. You certainly want to have a lead, but you don't want to be pushing the car so far that you run into trouble.
No, I agree, but I think some drivers, their pace is quicker. They could run faster than other people, and it could often cause problems if you try and go too slowly. If you try and pull back too hard, you will make mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's happened to me in the past when you sort of cruising for those last few laps of a race and think, okay, it's in the bank, and the next thing you know, because you're changing your braking marks, or you're changing what you've done as a routine, that can upset the car in a way you're not expecting. And you're right. So sometimes it's best to keep to your pace and keep pushing. And I think that's probably what these guys have in mind.
Absolutely. Still watching Elliott, Walsh, and Guillemette here. Guillemette's gap is growing a little bit. It's not as bad as it was, but it's still not quite surmountable. But I am seeing Jesse Elliott making good gains here on Chris Walsh. Walsh has had a tough season, but he's put some good performances in here. Looking forward to see what he can do with that. Now, technically, This is currently for the lead of your pro field amongst Chris and Jesse, as those two are really in order there for that. We've got a lap card going on down here to your leaders. Tyler Gilmette there is chasing Matt Smotherman for position. It's down to 2.3 seconds, so half a second gain last time by.
Yeah, he's chipping away.
He is indeed. So we have two battles there, 2x2, 2x2. We have the same thing down in the GT4 field with Greg, who's hitting pit road now. Interesting choice. This is early. We're 20 minutes to go, so 10 minutes in. Interesting choice.
His pit window just opened, and he's choosing to come in early, which is interesting.
It certainly is. I wasn't expecting to see that, but here we go. Most drivers we've seen this season have gone very late. It could be that the heavier car for more of the race feels better for these drivers. So topping up at this point and running to the end might give them a better feeling car. So we'll have to see how that plays. We have noticed it was a little squirrely on the first couple of laps, so maybe we're seeing some different strategy calls here. Or it's just a matter of track position and clean air. Could be a factor. Matteo leads at the moment for them with Kyle Smith behind them. Rick Hastert just behind him. They haven't closed on each other yet, but they are still working on that. Behind them, it's Brian Winker, Greg Meismer's cycling back through again. Brian Knight, Elliot Whitfield, Philip Chartier. Ed Nelson has just retired. We have that from Race Control. Sharp end. Wow, the gap's dropped hugely with traffic. Matt Smotherman's struggling around here. The gap's down to 1 second.
Yeah, something must have happened to Matt.
Spinning car.
He goes by a spinning lap car because all that lead that he had just evaporated. So he either got caught in behind some lap traffic or he had an issue where he had a moment.
I do believe in this case it will have been lap traffic that's caused this, because we've definitely seen a bunching up as well with Tyler and Chris. And we've seen Jesse Elliott drop. Oh, off goes Chris Walsh. And Elliott did as well a little bit. He's dropped back too. So a struggle from Jesse Elliott. Chris Walsh is all over Tyler Gilmette, who's also lost some time. This traffic has bunched everyone up. This could be interesting.
Oh, here we see Matt and what happened to him. Oh, just managed to squeeze by that spinning car.
We did indeed keep our eyes on this battle, because it's getting quite exciting up here. That's the 84 machine. Matt Smotherman, behind him Gilmette, behind him Chris Walsh, and behind him Jesse Elliott. So the camera's going back down the order.
Yeah, a bunch of those cars had some tires on the grass there, so they were... Sometimes you can get fixated on the car in front, and the car in front goes off or hits the grass, and you just seem to follow where your eyes are looking, and that's where the car is in the grass. But luckily, they all survived.
No, they have indeed, but this is bunching up again. Chris Walsh looking threatening here towards Tyler Gilmette. Oh, up the inside! Big move into NASCAR Bend. Puts Chris Walsh right at the inside, but he doesn't make it stick. He loses that spot again. But perhaps Tyler will have to watch his mirrors now more closely. That's a lap car in front of him. 0.3 of a second gained for Matt Smotherman, probably because of traffic here, as both of them get through in a pretty good spot for that. This will not benefit Jesse Elliott, though, just yet. Chris has got his gun sights fixed on that Lamborghini.
Yeah, for sure. And we've talked about the draft here, and here, and here we go into the back end of the course and the back straight, and see if he has enough. He's close enough to make that draft and make the pass.
He could have an opportunity. He is close enough.
He's looking, but I don't know that he's quite got enough.
Not quite close enough. He's close enough to kind of get up there. He could look, but it's too bold for the stage to race, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Really close run here by Walsh. He's right in the right place, but just not quite got the overspeed here to make anything happen with it, and he struggles a little bit out of this final corner. Even this, we got a pit stop there by Gilmette. Probably tactical here to get himself onto pit road.
Interesting strategy, yes. You've got somebody all over the rear end of your car and making you nervous. Why not come in and grab your fuel and maybe come out in some clean traffic and put in some nice clean laps? So we'll see how this cycles through here. We've had some interesting strategies here with a few drivers coming in early.
We have, which has been a bit of a change, I think, so far. Well, it is, looking at the clock there, 15 minutes, so it is time for us to have a quick look at our beneficiary spotlight for today. That is Elliot Whitfield for race number 8 here tonight. Elliot Whitfield served in the US Army as a 25 uniform, which is a signal support system specialist, what we call Scalies over here. Retired to 24 years on the 1st of June 2022. He had 4 deployments, 1 in Kuwait, 1 in Afghanistan, and 2 to Iraq. He currently attends Fayetteville State University, earning his degree in Information Systems and Analytics with Computer Science, along with taking part in Operation Motorsport's Motorsport Immersion Program with Daily Motorsport in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Series, learning data engineering. What brought him to Opmo was that he came to an SRO race at VIR, fun that it's here in fact, in 2021. He saw their booth in the vendor area, he stopped by to see what they were about, and as he was interested in motorsport, he applied to their program, not knowing what he was actually going to do once he retired. He then did, and well, Petit Le Mans the same year was his first activation, so fantastic there for Elliot, and a storied career.
Yes,
Back
thank you
out
for his
here.
service. And a
Indeed.
nice livery he's got here too, sporting the Operation Motorsport colors.
It absolutely is. Oh, multiple cars hitting pit road now. We've got Elliott, we've got Walsh, we've got Smotherman all coming down pit road here. I do apologise to you Americans. I don't say thank you for your service enough to service members over on this side of the pond, because in the UK we don't say it at all. Like, it's just a thing. Like, Americans all do it all the time. We just don't over here at all. It's not that we don't thank people, it's just we don't say it. We're too British.
Yes, too reserved. All right, here we go. The pit stops for the rest of this crew. Let's see how that cycles out. Matt Smotherman's obviously out in front of everybody, but we'll see where Chris Walsh comes out with respect to Tyler. And there goes Tyler right by. So Tyler managed to keep that lead on those cars.
Oh, penalty possibly for Walsh. He's still in his pit box, as is Scott Andrews for an extensive time. So this could be pit penalties. That would be very unfortunate for them in terms of their running positions.
Yes, he must have got a speeding in the pits. I see a black flag for him, so he had to serve some extra time, and that'll obviously drop him down quite a bit down the order. So he'll have the bit between his teeth here to try and catch up, but he's got a big gap to try and catch up, and that's, you're trying to squeeze every second out of a pit stop, and that means coming to that cone. There's a cone at the entry of pit lane where you've got to be down to the pit lane speed, and you want to come into that as fast as you can, but when you get to the cone you need to be at that speed, and if you're going too fast you will get a penalty for speeding in the pits, and that's likely what happened here with Chris Walsh. And so he was trying to eke every second he could out of that pit stop and try and undercut Tyler Gilmet, but it didn't work out for him and it kind of backfired.
That is deeply unfortunate there for Chris Walsh. His campaign to take on Guillemette, Elliott and Smotherman has been ended for this final race, we think. He won't be able to catch up to them again with that time penalty applied. Smotherman's gap 4 seconds over Elliott, but we'll see what it is this time as he come across the line. Obviously, it's still Guillemette in second with Elliott in third. Down pit road here, we have one of the BMWs. I believe, well, Matt Ayotte is coming off pit road right now. Rick Haslett's also exiting. Brian Winker is on pit road. Meismer's back in. Oh. Did Greg have a problem? He's there for quite a long time. No, he's back out again. He's okay, but I think Greg may have underfueled.
Yeah, perhaps. I didn't see a black flag for him, so it's interesting. Maybe he took too little fuel and had to come back in again. That'll shake things up here.
Yeah, that's definitely changed things significantly. Matt Ayotte towards the front there. We'll see what he can do with that one, but it's gonna be interesting to see where he will round out from that. Wasn't expecting him to be that low down in the order, especially with this way this has changed. So definitely a shift for us in this. As Elliott and Guillemette on top of each other here, running up towards the old oak tree bend. Elliott really wants that position now, and no Chris Walsh in the way. He's hungry for second.
Yes, he can. He's got he can smell the exhaust from the car in front here, as they say, and he is trying to put the pressure on Tyler.
If I was at a 13 machine there, I too would want to get out of the way of the Lambo on Lambo violence that's about to occur in front of him. Those two cars look incredibly aggressive. I do love the stylings of the Lamborghini Huracan as they come up towards the roller coaster here. Elliott looking for an opening. He's making some darting moves.
Yes, he's looking for an opening there. Tyler went a little defensive on him and tried to block the inside, but let's see if Jesse puts that in the memory bank for next time around here. He's got a good run coming by the start-finish line here. Let's see if he's got enough to get to the inside. Tyler's staying low to block that inside line, so Jesse's going to try the outside, but it's pretty tough to get around the horseshoe on the outside.
The best option is to look for an undercut in that first corner as being a double apex to turn 2, but won't manage to make anything of it. The gap, 3.3 to Matt Smotherman, has opened back up again. Now traffic is really clear during this pit cycle, but it's looking insurmountable to go after him unless we see some mistakes. Guillemette runs a little wide there between 2 and 3. Do a NASCAR bend there, up into 4 now. We're still seeing Elliott haunting the back of that car. Looking very aggressive here. Trying to find an opportunity to get through on the 5 car. Behind them, it is Kyle Smith leading the way in our GT4s, by the way. Matt Yote is technically second right behind him there. Just a lap car splitting the difference at the moment. We've got Rick Haslett running behind them, Brian Winker as well. But Meismer's running slow again. I'm not sure what's... He's running very slow, I think. I can't tell what's wrong with his car. May have been a slowdown penalty, actually, I think we could have seen, because he's back up to speed now. A lot of traffic here on the main straight as we see behind Guillemette as well. There's also GT4 leaders right behind them.
Yeah, Jesse's still putting the pressure on Tyler, but hasn't been able to get that pass done. But he is right on his bumper here as they come up to some lap traffic. This could be an opportunity to get a good run off this corner. Oh!
That was Brian Knight, unfortunately, there in the USL car.
Little door slap as he went by.
It was more of a door, oh god, out of the way sort of moment. I don't think they made contact, but he had to move to make sure. These two Lamborghinis definitely battling aggressively here on the racetrack. Loving to see a good bit of wheel-on-wheel action here. Elliott really hungry for position here, Rodney. He's trying everything to get through.
Yeah, he's all over the back of that other Lamborghini here. The two Lamborghinis are nose to tail. But he's got to get that pass done cleanly here. So he needs to be thinking about where he can set him up, where he's faster on this course than Tyler, and try and set him up. Coming off the oak tree is the best opportunity here, but he seems to lose a little bit of speed through this section here, through the snakes, as they come up towards the South Bend corner here. Very fast sweeping left-hander as we come up to oak tree here. Here's where he wants to get right on his tail coming out of this corner and get a good run down this long back straight and get a good draft out of that corner. Tyler went onto the grass a bit. That might be an opportunity here to get a little bit more speed coming off the corner, but
looks like Elliott did the same thing, though. I think I'm seeing his problem. Now, the S is up there. Shouldn't be a problem. They are flat out. It's about the line. He's using a bit much curb, though, from what I'm seeing, compared to Tyler. And in old oak tree... Oh, that got very grey very suddenly on the track. Oh, wow, that got dark. But I'm seeing he went in very deep. He's been going in quite deep to a lot of these big exit corners, burning too much speed and energy on the entry and not backing it up enough to get a great launch out. So he's running kind of wide on the exits, which is costing him speed.
Yeah, that's the old adage, slow in, fast out, for sure. You want to be, to maximize your exit on these corners, you want to make sure you've slowed down enough. If you come in too fast and you're still braking as you're coming through the apex, then you're not going to get the speed coming off the corner. And we can see again, he's trying to make a move on the outside of Horseshoe, but it's very tough.
It is.
But he's staying right on his rear end and making Tyler nervous. All it takes is one mistake from Tyler, and Jesse will be ready to pounce.
Certainly is. 5.1 seconds to Matt Smotherman there. They do say braking is not about slowing the car down, it's about helping the car to turn. transferring weight. So if you're braking to slow down, you've probably gone too deep.
Yes, especially the horseshoe corner that is the oak tree here. And here we come again. Let's see if he can get a better push off the corner this time. He's certainly right on his tail coming into the corner, but you can see that Tyler is just getting a little bit more speed off there, and you can see that gap just grew a bit coming off the corner because Jesse just is not getting that push off that corner.
Yeah, he went in deep again, and you could see him mid-corner as he closes up into the braking zone, showing he's braking later. Possibly frustration, wanting to make the pass, but really not in a position to get that to work because of that factor. GT4 updates, we have a bit of a gap between Kyle Smith and Matty Oat. Not in the same race, of course, between Open and Beneficiary, but they are, of course, always racing for the car victory. They all want to be ahead of that group. Couple of seconds gap between those two. Rick Haslett a little bit further back in third spot overall with Brian Winker. Greg Meismer, he's come back quite well. He's looking at second place for the Beneficiaries, but obviously not what he would have wanted. We'll have to ask him later if he finishes second. What happened there to end up with him pitting twice? That car doesn't look to have any damage, so I'd be surprised if it was anything like that. But once again, looking back towards Guillemette and Elliott, this is still our closest battle on the racetrack, and they're going for this thing really, really hard.
Yeah, they're fighting tooth and nail here, and we've got about 4 minutes left in the race to get it done. So that's about 3 laps here to go, and so Jesse's got to try and get his car sorted out and get his spot sorted out where he thinks he can get a run.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Obviously, some lap traffic can play a role here, as if they can catch some. Might be Jesse's opportunity to make a pass. But right now, it's looking like there's clear track ahead of Tyler for now.
There's a bit of a gap there has opened up actually for Tyler, so he's managed to get some more room here on Elliott. Wallace behind them, a bit far back to have any part in that fight, so is Joe Stiffel. Chris Walsh is fighting back. He's currently looking at what's going to be 4th place for the pros and about 6th place overall. Not the race he would have wanted there, but he's still fighting back and working his way up the field, of course. Chris Walsh could actually be looking towards Elliott Stiffel, but he's a little bit far ahead. Rick Haslett out of shooting range of Kyle Smith, unfortunately, so that might not change position unless there's a mistake. Matt holding his place there, but not quite close enough. Elliott's close back up again, though. We're seeing this again. We'll keep our eyes here. It's the closest actually on-track battle. Elliott still trying to find that chance.
Yeah, he's closing up here. You see him closing up again, like we say, under braking, but it's the important getting off the corner here. He's right on his tail again, and is going to try and press the issue here. He's only got a few laps left to do it, so he's got to try and pick an opportunity here where he can get a good run, or force Tyler into a mistake.
That's exactly what we're expecting there. As I think a mistake probably is his only real option at the moment. He's just not quite got the speed here to get through. It's a tough racetrack to pass on at the best of times, Rodney. And with 2 guys this quick, it's down to minute differences in their performance to really change.
Yeah, that's those little mistakes that can cost you here when everybody's running so closely together like these two are. It's like Jesse got a better push off that corner, but he's still got a bit of a gap here to try and get the draft and get the pass done.
Closing up again, but no real
closing up, but Tyler, he keeps the car over there to the left-hand side just to keep that line away from Jesse.
It certainly is, and that's the one thing we're seeing is good defensive driving here by Tyler Guillemette, keeping his car in the right place to hold that position. Every single time we see a good run by Jesse, he's forced to take the unfavorable position on the racetrack and try and make it work, which he's struggling with, as he isn't that much quicker, I don't think.
Yeah, and we can see the same thing here coming into the horseshoe at the end of that straight. Tyler's keeping it
it's better
on the bottom.
Oh,
a little wiggle from Tyler there, and looks like Jesse's got the inside coming into NASCAR. Nope, Tyler cuts the nose off of Jesse into NASCAR Bend and continues in the lead. But they're coming up some lap traffic here that they're going to catch just as they go into the snake.
I think this will be a good place to catch that car because it can get out of the way, maybe not quite, as they come up there. And that could have been problematic, but it didn't hurt too badly. We know Tyler's faster in this segment of the racetrack. It just needs a good run by Jesse here in in Oak Tree to make this work. He has to back this up a little bit more than he has been. If he can nail this entry a little bit slower in, he's wide again. You see how much wider he runs in the exit of the first part of that into the second part. He just burns so much speed.
Yeah, coming out wide there's not too bad if you can cut it in right at the apex, but he missed the apex coming out and just loses so much, just fractions of a second. But those fractions of a second make a big difference here as you come to the end of the long straight here. If you had those fractions of a second on the positive side, then you could be on the bumper of the car in front and get a good draft and get the opportunity to make that pass before you get to the top of the roller coaster.
Got the white flag out on track already. We're looking at being told there's a white flag out and a checkered flag. I don't know if we have, because we have got time on the clock still. Is iRacing drunk again?
It's the checkered flag.
Oh, we have had the checkered flag. The clock tells me different things to you people, and I get very confused when the clock tells me different things. I expect we have time left, but no. Matt has taken the win. We'll get a replay for you here of this, because I'm having a blonde moment, apparently. We have our run down to the line there with our battle between Tyler and Jesse. Tyler does manage to hang on here in the end. A great run by both these drivers, having a battle all race long, I should say. A fantastic run as well. Got the last laps here for Smith and Ayotte. Well held by Tyler. Kyle Smith coming down to the final corner now. He will take the GT4 field, and Matt Ayotte will hold on for the beneficiary win in tonight's final round. Up and across the line they will come, and to take it back for them. We don't have any other existing battles on the racetrack, so we will toss it to a quick commercial break, come back for your post-race results and our interviews. We'll see you in a minute.
On Remembrance Veterans Day weekend, November 2022, Operation Motorsport is returning to Anglesey Circuit, Wales, United Kingdom to compete in the 12-hour race. Well, that'll conclude things for tonight's last race of Season 6 here. We'll go to your post-race results. Winner in the win tonight, Matt Smotherman for Pro Beneficiaries, with Tyler Glumet in second as well. First Pro is Jesse Elliott in third, Martin Wallace in fourth, Joe Stiffel, Chris Walsh, Gabriel Albano, and Pro Beneficiary Hunter Reeve down there as well in eighth. Behind them, Scott Andrews and Ed Nelson wrap up your GT3 field, with Kyle Smith taking the win for GT4 for the open field, with Matt Ayotte winning for Beneficiaries. Behind them, it is Rick Haslett, Greg Meismer in second for the Beneficiaries, Brian Winker, Brian Knight in third, another podium for him,
We have Philip Chartier, Elliot Whitfield rounding out your field. With that in mind, we will get a chance to chat to Matt first for your beneficiary field tonight. We'll bring Matt up to have a quick chat. Matt, congratulations on the win for the beneficiary field tonight and a great season you've had.
Oh, thank you very much.
How was the race tonight? The track looked a little bit more difficult than usual.
Well, there was a lot of incidents. I saw a lot of people. I may have put a few tires off a little bit in the dirt some places. But overall, I found the track to be pretty good. It had a nice flowway, so I really enjoy the flow of this VIR. But yeah, it looked like a lot of people had some incidents, had some issues with going a little wide sometimes.
Certainly seemed that way. How has the season been overall for you?
Oh, the season was great. I really enjoyed it. It was my first season out, so it was really good to get out and race with all these fine gentlemen. No, overall it was pretty good. We're getting into live racing season, so looking forward to that as well. But I'm looking forward to season 7. So.
Well, before we let you go, we have a surprise Matt show again. It's happening once more here on Operation Motorsport. Matt Smotherman and Matt Ayotte, the two Matts that both won their classes tonight. And we also brought in some extra visitors for you tonight. Brian Knight came from third for the beneficiaries and Greg Meismer in second. So before we get to you two guys, I'm going to quickly flip the script over to Mr. Smotherman. Matt, another runaway tonight, 8.4 seconds. 8.8, sorry. Are you expecting landmines next season?
Just landmines everywhere. No, I think that 8.4 is a little bit deceptive. Tyler, let's see. Chris was catching up to me. Then he unfortunately got a penalty in the pits. Tyler and I believe it was Jesse behind him. They got into a battle and that pulled them back behind. If not for that, they would have been right on my tail all the way up until the end. So I was thanking God for that one, because just about every single time that I let off on my concentration, the gap just withered every single time. So I had to give it everything.
So what do you two both think tonight of the two classes of cars, the GT4, the GT3? Which was superior around this track in these conditions?
Oh, well, times dictates that the GT3s
Ignore the times. We don't care about the times. We're talking about handling. Come on.
It was hard to say. I saw about an even share of incidents as I went by. So, but no one can handle a car like Matt. The way he puts down that pace. Well, Matt Smotherman.
Are we third personing, or are we talking about somebody else here?
No, I lucked out. Gregory had a little bit of a thing. He can talk about it later, but I've been chasing Gregory this whole season, so to be able to make a lucky break was pretty good. So, but yeah, it looked even. It looked even for skill level.
Honestly, if I could jump in there, I think props to the GT4 guys for being able to handle that, because I've run this before in GT4s, and unless they've changed things, the lack of downforce, especially going through some of those high-speed corners, like the snake, I think is what it's called, and whatever the thing is, like turn 7, where they take the left-hand turn over that, is really, really hairy. And the GT3s have the benefit of having that extra downforce. So kudos to all the GT4s for being able to not just become lawnmowers.
Both interesting insights there. And before I ask you two who you'd like to thank for tonight's victories for your classes, I need to ask Greg and Brian a question. You two here?
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, you'll get your interviews in a second, so don't worry. But I need you to first answer a very important question. You must now, live on air, in the spur of the moment, pick your favorite Matt. Go.
Oof. Ayotte.
Okay, we have Ayotte and one vote. Brian?
Hey, yeah, and the reason I say that is because he did a lot of teach, coach, mentor whenever we did the endurance race.
I see. So Matt Smotherman's selfish. Got it. Greg?
I'm gonna go with Matt Smotherman then, because
Oh, split vote.
I like the selfishness.
Appreciate it, Greg.
Split
you, bud.
votes. I like it. Okay. So thank you, guys. Matt, you first. Anybody like to give a shout out to or thank for tonight?
First, I'm gonna shout out to Hunter. He gave me some really good coaching there yesterday, and he was working over my data, and we've been working together to build a sim team and plan that out. So he's been a great help in coaching me, and we're just trying to pass that on down. We got some plans for the near future here, but I really want to thank him for all that coaching, and then I also want to thank my wife and my family, and they're the ones that facilitate me being able to come out here and do this. And Gregory for giving me a target to chase. Uh, it was good. Like I thought I was done. I saw him pull a 153, and I was like, well, second place.
Well, you, Matt Smotherman?
I I think I would just like to give a shout out to all the people who have raced with us throughout this season that aren't beneficiaries. Chris Ramirez mentioned that during the drivers briefing, and just want to echo that here. Like honestly, the guys who aren't beneficiaries who come in here either in the open class or in the pro class and put on a really good show and just they perform really well in terms of just being classy drivers, just great driving etiquette, great people, great camaraderie, and they help to kind of make this league and this experience for all of the rest of us beneficiaries just that much richer. And so, big shout out to them. I really appreciate just them being here, honestly.
Wonderful. Great insight from both of you. And before I let you go, I need you just to stay around so you can throw some popcorn at these two. But Mr. Meismer, how was tonight's race?
I've had better.
Yeah, could you tell us about that, perhaps? You know, that bit where you wanted to really see what the outfield was like.
I had all week during practice. I've been nailing that turn, and there was another. I think it's South Bend that I was having problems with, and I was worried about. And then come up to Oak Tree and just went a little long on the brakes. I got my left tires in the grass. That was all she wrote. Ended up towards the wall. Had to pit for repairs. Going down the back straight, my wheel was about 90 degrees to the right. Wasn't the best. I thought I was going to be able to run away with it, but yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles, as they say. And just I guess I got to do better next time.
No, I'm sure you absolutely will. There's always next season. Hopefully, we'll see you put on a strong performance then as well. And bring it to Matt, who's currently going to be the one you have to chase, even though it was inverted last season. So, oh, a rivalry forming. I like it.
Yes.
Anyway, you'd like to say thanks to or shout out?
Man, just everybody at Operation Motorsports for putting this thing together. This is my second season running in the E Series, and it's exhilarating. I love it. I love racing against the same guys week in, week out. I can't wait to have the next one. I also got to give a shout out to my brother Kyle for getting the GT4 win tonight. Good job, bud. Congratulations. He also just got married last week, so cherry on top, I guess.
Congratulations.
Yep. And yeah, like I said, everybody at Operation Motorsports and you guys at Podium for putting on just an awesome broadcast. I usually watch it as soon as we get off, and it's usually pretty entertaining. And I guess that's it. I'm happy the season's over. I can't wait for the next one. It's gonna be close on points, Matt. It's gonna be close.
Oh.
I won't lie, I already did the math. I'm feeling
yeah.
confident.
Are you?
Oh, here we are. Okay, and last but not least, Brian Knight. Another podium, sir. This has become a habit.
Yeah, I don't know what's going
You
on.
sound so sad. Why are you so upset that you got another podium? Come on.
No, I enjoyed it. I told you last week that VIR is my favorite. However, I jumped on the sim rig to do some practice and not making any excuses, but my son had killed every single button, everything. I had to reset it all. So when I was in the race, I could not get the roller coaster down. As soon as I would touch my brakes, it was starting to turn. I'm pretty sure you've seen me. I don't know what it looks like on the thing, but I could have saved Greg some time and let him know how it was out there. He didn't need to go driving off to where I had already been. But yeah, the grass is slick. But I'll tell you, the USO Mercedes did well for me this season. I'm going to retire that car. Next year, I'm driving the BMW. And I know that hurts your heart, Rachel.
Does a little bit, yeah. I love the Mercedes myself, but hey, new car, new Brian. We'll hopefully see a great season from you next time out. Who'd you like to shout or thank?
You guys at Podium for putting on such a great performance. All the racers, seriously. When I said Matt Ayotte for the teach coach mentor, I mean there isn't a single guy any racer in here would be happy to do some teach coach mentor with anybody. But I want to change it. No, I don't want it to be Matt Ayotte anymore. He was talking about Hunter going over stats and all that other stuff. I didn't get that, so I want to change my vote to Smotherman now.
Oh, it's changed.
I'm just kidding. Like I said, everybody in this is great, especially for us slower guys too. Especially when we start hearing blue flag, Brian. I'm like, oh great, here it is. Try and maintain and not wreck what they've got going on. So I thoroughly enjoy it, and thank you guys so much.
Well, awesome. Thank you for joining us, Brian. And that is it for the Operation Motorsport radio show we apparently had tonight, but I don't care if you don't. Everyone, thank you to the series partners of Operation Motorsport iRacing League, iRacing, and the USO of North Carolina. For Jason Leach, Daisel Loader, Chris Ramirez, and the entire Operation Motorsport team. For Ryan Bauer, Gary Sexton, John Theodore at Podium Esports, camera builder Dougie Beard, our producer Gary Sexton, Cameron Oberdon on social media, my colleague this evening Rodney Campbell. I'm your host Rachel Whiteford. Thank you so much for watching tonight's broadcast of the Operation eMotorsport iRacing League, and we wish you a good night.
Wonderful. Rachel, you still
Thanks for being
here?
good sports, guys. Yes, I am here. Thank you for all being good sports.